Going to make this a really quick midweek update. The war's back on, so there's a lot of uncertainty in the charts. So we'll see. We obviously got knocked out of our short position on GbpUsd, but I think we'll be able to find a re-entry here real soon. So let's dive in. We did get knocked out of our short. I'm looking at this dealing range back here and the super premium way up here in this gap from a while ago. Doesn't seem out of the question anymore, and here's why. I'm looking at DXY. The dollar, I want to see it rip out these lows before we actually start taking another run to the upside. So these relative equal lows here, I'm going to move this, right? These relative equal lows here, and I wanted to see it get run, just swept, not run, just swept a little bit before we actually move up. So I'm thinking the dollar still for the end of this week can make a run down to knock out these lows into this imbalance right here. And I don't think we get all the way down to this candle. Possible, but unlikely. And we should be up there. So I don't want to take a short on euro or pound until and if that happens. But I would expect it to happen. These are just too clean not to get run out. Same with the euro, right? These relative equal highs are very juicy. Doesn't mean I'm going to long it up there, but we haven't hit the premium yet. We just wicked it right here of this dealing range. So I want to see euro get back into premium, and maybe that's the end of this week with the GBP CPI or GDP release tomorrow, and the euro and the pound can kind of make one more last run up into their premium, or in the pound's case, run out some of these highs into a super premium. So way up here would be a very ideal short, and we'll just take another bullet, put another R up for risk here. And if we see it displaced before that, so if we do take out this double top and some of these highs and just into this imbalance, then I'd like to see a displacement and a retest, and we can get short the pound again or the euro. Both, and the euro is exceedingly weak right now, so I'd almost rather short the euro, but the pound just hasn't left the range yet. So when it wants to, I feel like it's really going to accelerate. But that's it for the DXY, the pound, and the euro. Really, I'm expecting the DXY to make one last run down here to sweep all these lows before we can make a run to the upside. And we'll see similar moves. Euro probably to come up into its premium zone, maybe even as high as the super premium into this gap as we had outlined 2 weeks ago. And we'll see. Gold, kind of a similar story, right? I'm thinking this trend line doesn't hold for now, and we're going to get a bullish run up to another back into premium, kind of make a bigger double top here. So one top, two tops before we come for this liquidity that's ripe and waiting. But I think people want to believe this is the bottom on gold after we swept some lows here and made what is a decent retracement on gold. People want to think this is the bottom. I don't. I think we're going to run out this trend line and maybe back to the super premium, or possibly the whole dealing range back into a premium of this dealing range. And then we're just going to come dump again to this liquidity. Silver is looking very similar, right? We have almost identical equal lows here. So I just see this trend line as getting a run and then a dump. And I'm not exactly sure what the catalyst is that would be for that, but something's got to be brewing somewhere, right? If we have this dealing range from here to here, and we haven't even hit a premium yet. So I do think there's something in the works for gold and silver to make a run back to knock out this trend line and head down. Copper, similar story, right? This double top was still there. So I got out of my short in a loss, and I entered the soybean oil short, which I'll show you in a second. But these double tops are still in question here. The 4 standard deviations was way back here at 6.8795 that we had measured a while ago, and it never got tagged on this run up, several weeks ago. So this might be that last run up to clear this out before all the metals take another nosedive. Crude oil, I'm going to pass on for a second. Soybean oil, right? We said 71.70 is where we want to get short, and check that out. I'm already short, and it looks like, just filling that gap on the continuous contract was exactly what we needed. It was the super premium here. So I had my orders in at 71.70, and I had one in at 71.72, and it did not get hit. So that some of that is precision of the market here. The super premium 71.70, and we're in it. So this is looking nice and short as we wanted to see this run up right to closing the gap and down. Soybeans themselves, these are a little tricky. We're kind of more in the premium of the range here on the adjusted contract, right? There's still this super premium and this relative equal high here that we thought could get run out even. Yeah, so this is a very relative equal high on the non-adjusted contract. So I wanted to see that run out a while ago before we could go down, and maybe we're going to see that. So soybeans, I'm kind of hands off for right now. But we're a bit in the middle of this dealing range, and we have a double top here. We have this double top here. There's certainly a reason that we could get a pump through this and then a dump after that. But the soybean oil looks pretty weak. I wouldn't expect it to get pumped up back to the top of the dealing range. If it does, that's fine. Then we'll just wait for those. Crude oil, right? We had put out a few scenarios here, so we did pump. We started a retracement, and we're back up now, just touching the bottom of this gap from 4 weeks ago almost, right? So if we are looking to short oil, which at this point, if you're saying the Middle East conflict is back on and shorting oil is probably not a great idea, but 82.10, 82.50 on the current month's contract, I think, was the place you might want to get short if you're looking short. There's something to be said for, possibly running this whole thing out. The chart isn't necessarily telling me that right now, but I may take one bullet short here at 82.25, 82.50, and if it's just going to blow us out, it's going to blow us out. So I might just risk an R on that for the contrarian view that we actually just hit this gap and come down. I read an article today that was basically saying it's a waiting game, the midterms for Trump and the Republicans versus Iran and their economy being forestalled by a naval blockade and other strikes from the U.S. So it's hard to say which one of those would come to fruition and actually possibly end a conflict sooner. But when we had analyzed the dealing ranges last week, 2 weeks ago, you could check that out. It suggested that we might get a run up just back to the bottom of this range here, right, to retest this gap and head down on an adjusted basis. That's what that looks like too. So kind of hands off oil right now, at least until we get back to the premium of the last 2 months dealing range here, which is 82.05, and kind of see how it reacts there. If we want to if we plunge off this gap again and retest it, then yeah, maybe it's worth a short. I probably won't try to short right at the peak there and think I'm smarter than the market. So crude oil, a little bit tricky now with the developments back in the Middle East. Indices, so the YM still supported by that super premium that we wanted to see support, and I'd like to just see it run up to 55,000, which would be a big blow off top and come down. So this week has basically consolidated, even though we had some decent news with CPI, decent meaning big news with CPI, PPI just released today. So, we're wicking below this super premium, which is fine. And I want to see this last run up before a dump here. ES similarly, right? We had this kind of drawn out as a scenario. This trend line we expected to get broken as I think it will be a false breakout to the upside to complete the dealing range up here, and then we dump. So right now it is ES long till we take out this high or this weak double top that was there from 4 weeks ago about, and I'd love to see just 77.10 to 77.30, 40 area be the run out and a dump. NQ Similarly, I think we have this bit of a wedge here. And I think NQ could make a run up here, maybe clear these double tops, but it's going to depend. We might get some weird release from a company that could run this up, and I'd love to just see a big spike through this to clear the entire buy side and not be too weak to just maybe clear this high and then a dump. But some people are saying it's not going to dump. This is a reaccumulation. I don't see it. If this was the last tap into the monthly or weekly imbalance, that's a pretty, to me, that this one wick down here is a pretty weak spring on this accumulation or distribution. And we measured 4 standards a while ago to right here, and that's on the adjusted contract. On the non-adjusted contract, we still haven't hit it. So 7 handles above where we were. If NASDAQ wants to complete the 4 standards there, break this wedge with a false breakout, and then come down, I'm good with that. So I'll be shorting up there. I'm not exactly longing it now. We're right in the middle of the range from this consolidation. So I'm basically trying not to touch the indices until I see a bigger run up, and then I want to be short. I know a lot of people are screaming Bitcoin to the moon, and I think at best we might get back up into the super premium here and take out this high. But again, Bitcoin has just been very heavy. I've wanted to see a bigger push into a premium to be able to short it, and we're just not seeing it a lot. But if gold, silver, the indices are going to make a run up, euro, pound might make a run up into a premium here, this is going to be a place where I'm going to want to be looking for shorts around the 76,000 mark on Bitcoin. So we're just going to see which of these eras might end up playing out before a reversal. And that's the story on Bitcoin. So this was a shorter episode today, midweek. PPI just released. CPI was yesterday. So, we're still looking for shorts on most things, and we're not quite in the premium there. So we got to be patient and see how things play out. But, I've only taken like 2 trades this week and 2 trades last week. And that's the nature of it. Right now, we're kind of in the middle of these ranges, and the propensity for big moves isn't quite there right now. So we'll see how this develops, but I'm glad I could get this out midweek, and we'll do another one. Actually, I'm going to be on vacation, so I probably won't be back for an update or for a week or 2. But in that time, if something juicy comes up, I'll try to get on and give my 2 cents. All right. Thanks. Cheers.